Okay, let me decode this real quick. What replaced expertise, you may ask, and I will explain. We're seeing the migration of authority from knowledge to operating systems. And it makes sense. For centuries, expertise served as the foundational organizing unit of authority. It was a very linear hierarchical contract, in the sense that, rigorous training yielded credentials, and credentials conferred status, and status guaranteed leadership. That is, to know the most was to be guaranteed the right to decide. You know what I mean? This system thrived in a predictable world where information was scarce, where timelines were long, and stability was the default. Today, that mechanism is fundamentally broken. Now, the shift is not due to a decline in intelligence or effort, but is a very, very clear structural change in the operational environment that we live in today. You see, we no longer live in a world where knowledge can afford to be static. Yeah, that has changed. Knowledge has stopped being the coordinating action, strictly because the context necessary for its application, that is, variables, the tools, and the challenges that required its application, they've all evolved in real time. The world no longer rewards the hoarding of isolated insights. It's all in your head. It rewards the assembly of motion. And I will explain. So, what has replaced the static authority of expertise is not ignorance. It's specifically operating capacity. And I will explain in three formats. One, expertise back then solved for a slower world, as I've said, and the cost of expertise by its very nature is a strategy built for stability and certainty. It required that over an extended period of slow immersion, deliberate action, deliberate practice rather, and eventually you arrive at mastery. This model was very, very effective, highly effective, and you could do all of that, and mastery could be achieved before the problem even required a solution. That was the way the world operated, and that's because the variables were fixed. A learned solution remained the applicable for years or decades. And now, in that world, failure was very expensive. The penalty for being wrong means that you're waiting for the highest form of certainty. This luxury has evaporated. In this current hypervolatile, hyperconnected world, where problem shifts even before the end of this video, I can assure you that certain global contexts would have changed, and it has already collapsed into local decisions. The essential tools for managing problems, that is, software, data streams and information, it changes weekly. So in this chaos, the cost of waiting for mastery is almost even higher than the cost of being wrong. So the authority of the experts, which was predicated on certainty, has been completely rendered inert by the relentless pressure of constant change. The new unit is operating capacity, that is, running systems. Authority has now migrated from repository of knowledge, that is the expert, to the engine of action, the operator. This new unit of leverage is strictly defined in two words: operating capacity. So the ability to not just understand a problem, but to immediately run a sequence of action against it. That is new, that kind of fast iteration. This shift is the new locus of power. Those who can operationalize an insight own the outcome. Their capacity manifests in very specific insights and specific skill sets. The ability to gather the necessary talents, the necessary data, and the tools without any bureaucratic friction. Move fast. 2, seamless sequencing. They can operate and orchestrate very complex tool chains, and they depend on each other without hesitation. Fast. And then there's also the rapid cycling, moving from an idea to a functional prototype to concrete feedback fast. With no-code tools, things are no longer ideas. You can collapse the time between thoughts and results. Now, there's also the public, the willingness to fail quickly, iterate openly, and integrate feedback immediately. This turns mistakes into a visible step towards solution. And it's admirable when we see this in real time. Now, as I always give my analogy, two people may possess the same insights, but the one who can run the system fast, the one who can test, deploy, and refine that insight is the one who generates value and critically establishes authority. That is a new way. Now, what is obvious is that traceable thinking beats static knowledge. Traceable, we can see it beats static knowledge. Authority, as the timelines have emerged, is no longer a part where the public needs to watch you behind the scenes. The public has to see you every day. They demand to inspect the parts that led to your expertise. They want to see the process. And then the final snapshot of mastery is no longer, I know this because I have the credential. That one is now met with skepticism. Nobody cares for that anymore. Authority today is a timeline. It's a visible, continuous ledger of thoughts, what they call building public. It is the key elements of this new world. And it's evident, What is it evident in? 1, visible reasoning, transparency in your decision-making process. The world wants to see the why behind the what. 2, dynamic updating of the public. Storytelling, the documentation of shifting positions as your new data emerges. This is why your celebrities can offend and people can make mistakes and apologize immediately and the world forgives them. Demonstrating this intellectual honesty and agility is the new authority. 3, documenting failure, the willingness to analyze and log your mistakes instead of burying them. This type of vulnerability is becoming very credible. This means authority is no longer fixed on the unchangeable status guaranteed by a certificate or certification. No, it is the legitimacy earned through continuous, legible engagement with reality. The reality being timeline, digital timeline. So the individual who can show their work over time possesses greater authority than the one who relies on a fixed degree. And like I've said in many videos before now, orchestration is the new leverage. Connection over isolation. You know what I mean? While deep specialized expertise still matters, it is compounding effect that has diminished. That isolation, that's doing in the isolation, it has diminished. The highest leverage skill, right, is in the contemporary environment of orchestration. The ability to connect disparate components, things that would not have been aligned into a moving, unified systems. Orchestrators, as I've said, are the masters of this systemic, not just the technical. Their value lies in 4 core acts, and I'll tell you now. Knowing what to combine, identifying the tools that need synergy, ideas and talent pools, knowing when to move, that is, they determine the best time to deploy. They have it in them, innate, knowing when to deploy in a very volatile context. 3, knowing who to involve, that is, assessing and integrating the right specialized expertise at the right time. And then finally, knowing when to stop. Possessing the judgment to cut your losses faster and pivot based on real-time feedback. This explains why operators often ship and lead more than pure technicians. They have recognized that leverage is not derived from the depth of a single knowledge silo. No, it's from the kinetic power generated by connecting the silos. So, this architectural shift, as you have seen it or as I've described, it is transforming from expertise to operating capacity. And it's not a moral preference, it's a structural necessity driven by the volatile times that we live in. The architectural model of authority has fundamentally changed. We have moved from linear hierarchy, that is, expert, credential, authority. We have now moved to a more kinetic systemic loop, that is, operator, system, outcome. So, those of you who are looking for your place in the world, those of you who continue to wait for your credentials to be recognized for what you know, well, you'll find that the world is behind. The new leaders are not the ones who care about certificates. They are the ones who can design, run, and visibly debug systems that translate into insight instantly, and they can provide real-world motion to any idea. They don't say, trust me, I'm the expert. They simply make their thinking legible. And this operating capacity becomes their unquestionable authority. So,